He smeared a blueberry pie on my shirt.
That's because you put it on my chair first. See, he's leaving out the details. Oh, yeah.
Should we get another round?
I don't know. Last time I went 4 rounds with LaRusso, I caught a foot to my face.
Welcome to No Mercy, a Cobra Kai Kickback. My name is Jacob Burrows, and I represent Miyagi-Do. And while we can all agree that Moffat wasn't a great showrunner, you gotta remember and respect his old stuff. I mean, let's do a podcast on Blink. Fuck it. Let's do a podcast on Coupling, one of the greatest irreverent sitcoms of the early 2000s, possibly up there with Spaced, possibly up there with Black Books. And besides, show me a showrunner who can make a good season of Doctor Who front to back, and I'll eat my hat.
Oh, wow. Well, my name is Jim Scampoli. I represent Cobra Kai because you may be able to tell people that I suffer from sleep enuresis, but you better not tell anyone what that means, or else.
Or else, indeed. We're here to discuss episode 9 of season 2 of Cobra Kai. It's titled Pulpo, which is Spanish for octopus. It's, of course, written by John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg. They're directed by the power couple, and story by Josh Heald, John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg, and story and teleplay by Michael Jonathan Smith. So there we are. The 9th episode. We're almost back where we started, Jim, because we did start this podcast in between seasons 2 and 3. We've gone all the way through, starting with the original films, getting all the way up to episode 9, and soon we'll have episode 10. Now, we're a bit delayed on actually releasing these, so maybe you, dear listener, have news of season 3. Maybe season 3's out, and we're certainly going to do that as well, but we're coming up on the end of what we have going right now. And how does it feel, Jim?
It feels really great. Like I think we've mentioned before, season 1, I think between both of us had at least watched it like twice, maybe some episodes more. I know personally, season 2, I only watched that one go round. Not that it was bad or anything, just for whatever reason, I just watched it once. But revisiting it, and especially as things are starting to amp up once again, I'm like, wow, this is a lot. I mean, I don't want to say a lot better than I remember, but like, I just like, oh yeah, this is a great show. It's just there are moments between this episode and the finale where I'm speaking out loud to an empty room as I'm watching it. Wow, this is a great show. So, and I feel like, I mean, given there's only 2 seasons, but I enjoy this formula of in episode 9 is when we tease the friendship between Daniel and Johnny, and even to another extent, somewhat Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do with some of the other players as well. But of course, things are gonna shit's gonna hit the fan, if you will, and that's not gonna quite pan out.
Yeah, things always look the darkest before dawn, but the opposite of that. They look the brightest before midnight. That's not how it actually works. I don't know what the wording should be, but it's quite common, I guess, to have things kind of happy. Like, you got to inch closer to that utopia before you tear it all down. No spoilers for the season finale, but everyone doesn't just sit around and eat ice cream. So we start out here with a parallel. I don't know if this is part of what you were thinking of, probably more like the party, but we start out strong with an 80s, it's just a montage. Did I just say 80s montage or montage? I don't know.
What I was going to say, though, here is that for all the positives I have to say about this show, I feel like I do not like this opening montage.
Fair.
No, sir, I do not like it that much. I mean, I think the biggest thing, again, I know we harp on this or we always talk about it, and it's going to come up a few times discussing these episodes, are the use of flashbacks. Yeah. And I hate the use of flashbacks in this montage. And you know what? It's not the montage that I have a problem with. It is the way they intersperse these flashbacks of things from this season that we already fucking know. And it doesn't feel like it serves a purpose like maybe some of the other ones that we'll discuss that I do not dislike.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my takeaway. You know what? The girl, the That's My Girl.
The Girl Boss song?
Yeah, That's My Girl montage is fine. It's the flashback. Because especially with the dialogue. Honestly, if it was just the clips, it would have been fine if it was just showing like, but when it's like my mom had it tough and we fight for everything, and it's like everyone's got a sob story, It's that doesn't mean you could be a bully. And then showing a clip from like last episode and shit, like that's what I'm kind of like, all right, come on now.
That feels like a YouTube compilation, like someone put that together, like an edit on YouTube, a fan edit, like best moments of these characters sort of thing, set to some pop bop and tune. I think we can divide the flashbacks, broadly speaking, into two parts or two categories overall, which would be like the ones where it's actually enhancing the moment you're in, and then the ones that are there to remind you, like, because the show doesn't have a previously on. I feel like the only reason it's here at the start is that this show doesn't do, like, previously on Cobra Kai, because it's like, you maybe didn't watch this and make a podcast about it, so we need to remind you of this stuff going on. But I do feel like just have it previously on, like this whole month. But then, I mean, this montage, I like it, but I don't really know the perfect solution, but I totally get where you're coming from. So... yeah, but it's definitely not the enhancing kind of edit. It is just a reminding flashback.
Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, I think it'd be 5 times better without the dialogue. You could still have the same clips because you're going to get it. You understand what's happening. I mean, it even ends in a split screen where they're like looking at each other. And I mean, I don't want to harp on this too much. I feel like I'm being negative. I don't want to be. I love the show. It's not that terrible. It's just... it made me roll my eyes a little bit because it's like, I guess, like you said, it's like a YouTube comp, which would be completely fine as one of those. It'd be a well-made YouTube. I'd be like, wow, this is cool. It's just in the show. I'm like, you don't need, because they don't put previously when you get. I guess this is even dated at this point, but when you buy like a DVD version of a show, they don't always put the previously on because they know you're watching it like in a row. And especially like with YouTube, this was released all together. But whatever. I don't want to keep harping on it. But yeah, sure. I didn't love it. Let's just say that. I love a lot of things on the show, and I didn't love this.
No, it makes sense to me. Why you wouldn't? It's like just there to tell us, these gals still mad at each other, but like we know it. We know that we're pretty much there already. We get it. Like the show should just trust itself that it's delivered that very strongly in the past few episodes. We don't need another few clips there. And
maybe some of the problem as well is just that I don't feel like they did a great job of this Sam and Tori rivalry. I like that they have a rivalry. I get it. I mean, it's like the tough chick. Here's a tough chick from Cobra Kai. This is a tough chick from Miyagi-Do. Also, you have Miguel in the mix between, Sam's ex and Miguel's current girlfriend. But I mean, we've talked about how like Sam comes off as like the biggest jerk in this anyways, because it doesn't quite make sense why she hates Tori so much.
Well, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she just loves Miguel, and that's the problem, eh, Jim?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But it was also like, I think initially when she met her, it was more about Aisha, wasn't it? Like, so
yeah. That was just the prequel, though. That's maybe Jim. Did you forget? Maybe you need a previously on because yes, that was about Aisha, but that was just a prequel to her jealousy of because Sam doesn't have any friends. It's very apparent in this show that nobody likes Sam and wants to hang out with Sam. So she just holds on to the ones she has for all she's got, or she tries to at least. I feel like the relationship with Robbie is that to an extent. Yeah, they're like, we're both teenagers who are sexy, so we should be together. But it's also just like she, I don't know, she doesn't have anyone in her life, it seems like, except like Moon, who gives her like a chai latte or whatever. And it's the nicest thing anyone's done to her since her dad taught her karate. So there's not much going on for Sam. I guess that's part of why I believe the rivalry.
I mean, speaking of Robbie and Sam, they're a happy couple still. And they show up and they're like, now's the time. Let's tell your parents. Of course, let's do it.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
It's like, what? Something's going on here. And Robbie's mom is back. She's there. And, they have a moment where she's talking about how she's going to try to get better. She's going to go to rehab. I've mentioned this before, but this is very the OC.
Yeah.
Because I just recently watched the OC, so of course that's what it is.
It is though. I mean, I watched it ages and ages ago. This is very much the OC. And Robbie doesn't take it seriously until she does say, "No, I have to actually go to rehab." And also, your dad's not that bad of a guy. Like, maybe give him a shot. Because I've definitely said a lot of shit about him that maybe was, from my point of view, not from your point of view. Like maybe he can be a dad to you. I know he wants to be.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of, I mean, some decent stuff, sets things in motion, and is also the most important thing is it is a big hurdle where, how are we supposed to tell your parents now? We got to deal with this other stuff. So then we have Carmen and Johnny. They're gonna go on a dinner date, which is nice. I mean, they're a cute couple. The grandmother gets to, say stuff to him like, don't knock her up. But Johnny doesn't know what she's saying. So he's like, oh, thanks. Haha. I assume she's complimenting me.
Yeah. Hey, good stuff. Good stuff. They got great chemistry. We're going to see more of that in the episode. Speaking of Best Girl Moon, she's on Sam's laptop, inviting her to come over later because Sam doesn't have any friends and Moon's really nice like that. And I'm sorry, Sam has friends. She has Miyagi-Do now. She has the friend group that her dad assembled for her. Those are her friends now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because Kyler and all those people disappeared. They no longer exist.
they got karate'd out of existence. Everyone cares about karate now. Imagine them in the background of some of these scenes just going, what the fuck is going on? So Moon's throwing a party. Sam's invited. And Sam finds out her parents are going out as well. And yeah, I guess it's supposed to be, she finds her octopus anyway. So that's, like I said.
But it's also like this weird, at first she's like, I don't know, maybe I'm not going to go to the party. But then her mom makes that crack of like, let me guess, hanging out, getting ice cream. I mean, I guess her mom is kind of like, oh, you don't have friends. Because she kind of like amped up. Like when her mom leaves the room, she's like, you know what? I am in. We're going to the party. But like, I don't know. It's just weird that they threw that in because at the beginning, she's making the crack to her parents of like, oh, let me guess, going out to blah, blah, blah. And she's like, are we that predictable? And I don't know. She gets amped up to realize that she's young and can go to a party. And you're right. She does get she goes to get ready and then does see the octopus. So she does have these feelings for Miguel. How could you not? He's the heart and soul of the show. He's fucking cute as fuck. And
yeah, exactly. That's what we always said. No, you're so right because that like it's played up like she's like, you know what? I'm in. Dun 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 dun. But it's like, oh, I thought you were probably in already. Like it's not like you were like, I would never go to a party, and then your mom tells you to chill out, and then you do. I don't know. It's like played up a little bit. I think it's the more important moment is her like finding the octopus than her going, I'm in. Because we get another flashback. Yeah. What do you think of this one, Jim?
This one's fun. I don't know why, but this one's fine. I guess it's just a quickie. Again, there's a little bit more distance to that, so I'm fine with it. I don't need to see that Sam was covered in food, or just the fact that Sam tripped Tori an episode ago. So this is fine. And again, I feel like it's more. I guess you could make the argument that in the montage, those flashbacks are in the characters' heads, like they're thinking of those moments. But this is for sure in her head, like just a quick flash in the character's head of the moment. And
in this one, it's also like, even technically speaking, it's just more justified because it's last season. Maybe you didn't rewatch it before season 2. If you're watching in real time, it just makes sense because otherwise you'd just be staring at an octopus, which might be better in a sort of like letting the audience put the puzzle pieces together sort of way. But this just ensures that we're in her head more. So I'm fine with it. We'll get to the restaurant. And I assume you just love all of this, Jim.
Yes, you read my mind. Is what I was about to say. When they're sitting at the restaurant, and then Daniel and Amanda come in. I mean, it's obviously it's like almost a contrived like sitcom thing, but it completely works. It's so great. Like, oh, it's busy. It's a fully booked restaurant. This is the only table, and they're next to each other, and it's. The way it builds with just these little side looks and comments, like obviously they can't help like listening to each other's conversations and these little cracks and looks. And then with the girls like, oh, geez, here we go. The karate rivals at it again. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And like, hang on. Like just the line from Amanda of like, yeah, do you guys know each other? Is the waitress, and she's like, oh yeah, they have warring karate dojos. Bring me a very, very big drink. It's just great. I love it. And them leaving the boys to stew for a bit. You gotta love it. And them bonding over like both being like, I guess a guy about the order, like, oh, sure, you're not gonna write that down, which is more like a dad thing, I feel, than anything else. It's not like they're bonding,
but also what's perfect about that moment and why, because I mean everyone knows I'm hashtag Law Russo from the start. I ship Daniel and Johnny being best friends. But that moment there, I know it's a dad thing, but I mean, even on my show, Jim and them, my friend Jake and I, we always discuss how annoyed we get when the waitress doesn't write down what we're telling her. So it's like a thing written specifically for me, where I'm like, yes, of course, write it down. Are you kidding me right now? Rookie move, white belt. It's great.
Yeah, it's so relatable as well. So they just, they, like we were saying, you got to get the brightness before the dawn. I'll work on that one. Yeah, but, we got to have the positive stuff right before things goes bad. So we have the Miyagi crew showing up to this party. Sam's all shocked that there are other people there, even though Moon said it was going to be a wild night or whatever. Everyone's hanging out, drinking from red and blue solo cup. I'm surprised that, the different Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai didn't get different colored ones. I'm surprised Cobra Kai didn't have fucking branded solo cups, black with yellow, get a snake on there. But basically they're all staring each other down, and Moon's just like, hey, I thought maybe we could all just be pals. And I gotta say, Moon, besides all of her compliments that we've been throwing at her, I feel like she represents Miyagi-Do more than anyone else on this show. She's just kind of chill about everything, just wants everyone to hang out and be cool with each other. I don't know, like that's even, what do you think?
Well, no, you're right. Moon continues. We've been talking about this for episodes now, but Moon continues the streak of being like the only correct character on the whole show. Every time she says something, she's right for the most part. But I love this moment as well because, I mean, going back into like the joke we were saying about how Sam has no friends, or even how like her old friends disappeared. This is like a nice contrast, a reminder of like we've been, whether it be these characters and us as the viewers, we've been such in this karate mode. We've been in this crease mode. We're in a karate show, and this is a reminder that like there's this whole world outside, because they show up at this party. And most people don't know, like, don't give a shit or know what's going on. But to them, it's like, oh, no, Cobra Kai's here, but we're Miyagi-Do. And Moon at least has an understanding that these guys don't like each other. But, of course, she doesn't give it a second thought. Like, oh, it's not going to be a big deal. It's a party. It's not a karate tournament. But I just love that we get to be in the movie. We get to be in the karate movie where it's this tense moment, but we can see the outside world where no one really gives a fuck. But again, I mean, that's all going to come to a head as we'll see. But I just like this. It's a quick little meta thing where other people just having their drinks like, oh, what's going on with those guys? So what are they doing? Yeah.
Moon just tells them to clear their chakras and get it on. So there's a dance circle. I don't know. It just seems like a great party for everyone. There's a dance circle. These kids do. I don't remember the names of all the side characters right now, but there's some great dancing going on.
Or Nate. I think they're chanting Nate because he busts out with the Fortnite dances. Of course, yes. Got to throw some Fortnite dances in.
It's the hotness right now. It will be TikTok dances in season 3, though. So Stingray is also great. Shows up with some chick and talks about, these are my friends. Parents are out of town. Gotta say, Stingray is really coming into his own later in the season because he's, instead of just being the chubby guy saying silly things, he's like the guy doing what Hawk did, but like comedically unsuccessfully, which is great. And I just love his unjustified sense of confidence about everything,
And I mean, I don't know about you, but like I guess this is a common staple of kind of the older guy that's still like, around when you're having high school parties and stuff, and it's just like a goof. You're like, all right, and you're kind of, you laugh with him, And then when he's not around, you're giving side eyes to your friends like, oh, this is this older guy. I
Yes.
do love that he's playing Edward 40 Hands, and they don't really call it out. Are you familiar with Edward 40 Hands?
I am from all of your American media that has been shipped across the ocean blue to me. So yeah, no, I'm familiar. That's where you duct tape 40s, which I also had to have explained to me, to your hands, and then you drink them. Right? That's the game.
Yeah. Although the one thing I'm not familiar with is this balance game. I can't imagine that's a real thing people do, but maybe it is. Where
Jim,
they're
I had notes on this. Originally I was like, how does this game work? Because like they're drinking beer and you're not going to get dizzy right away.
Yes.
So seemingly it's like when Sam is playing Tori, they're up there for ages doing all sorts of shots. They start taking vodka or tequila or whatever. So I guess it makes sense in that way, but it's like it's basically just because balance theme.
Yeah,
it's the theme.
your core, like basically just have your core and being like in shape. Because if anything, it would just be I just give out because I'm like I just can't balance on this fucking stool still. Jesus, it had nothing to do with being drunk. But I mean, I guess it works with karate. It's a great karate game.
I mean, everyone's just hyped at this party. I feel like I wouldn't be as hyped about two people standing on a chair, but I guess there is the potential of someone falling, which does make it more interesting. But I'm just imagining them like drinking beer, like having to stand there, just getting your leg tired from drinking lots of fluid, just standing there like an idiot. Like you're not going to get drunk enough that you fall off because of that reason. You're going to fall off because you have bad balance. Anyway, luckily we have these two karate, karate montage chicks, power bosses, so they're both going to be able to be up there for ages. And again, Sam just is acting not herself because Tori is around, and she's the one who did hit the last stroke, but of course she can't back down from a challenge, so they're standing up there doing their drinks until Tori eventually falls and because of Stingray and goes to get cleaned up.
Well, and it's even like Sam is like faltering after one drink, but then they check in a while later. She's in it and taking shots of vodka. So yeah, I mean, it becomes hardcore because then even at the point of like, it's basically insinuated that they've been up there for a while, like at the very least, like 30 minutes to an hour, and they've had many drinks and at least a shot of vodka. And then when we check back in with Sam, she's unscrewing like another bottle of vodka or some sort of hard liquor. So Robbie is completely right when he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you you're just drinking more? Relax, Sam.
For sure.
I guess it's more proof she doesn't know how to act because she doesn't have friends. She's never been to a party before.
Again, I feel like these things are kind of unintentional from like the writers, but they make sense to me that Sam just is kind of socially awkward. But I think there's a couple of things where I'm like, this is kind of hard to read what we're supposed to take out of this, like what's happening in Sam's mind, because like you said, her very first like sip, it's like she's shaking, and then she like gives Tori a look and like shoots it down, and they cheer. But I'm kind of almost like, am I supposed to understand it as, because it would make more sense to me just structurally, kind of, if she gets up there and she's like wobbling like crazy and Tori's like smirking, and then like Sam smirks back and gets totally super steady because she has the Miyagi training and she's balanced on the fucking thing in the water. She should, like, it would make sense to me if she was like, nah, like I was just joking there, I'll just do this, no problem. And then later she'd be wobbly because of the alcohol. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to, similar to when she's like, yeah, I'm in, I'll go to the party. You're like, oh, were you not originally? And now I'm like, oh, you're wobbling at the start, and then you're wobbling later as well. So, but you're supposed to be drunk now, but not then. And anyway, I'm rambling.
Yeah, they definitely make it seem like she does kind of pull in her Miyagi-Do because she does like a hand move and then pulls up her balance. But yeah, you're right. I don't think it's as clear as it could be. But either way, they have the drinking game. Sam wins. But to be fair, Tori was also did at least one round before Sam showed up, so that should be counted for something.
I know, that's what I was thinking as well. How is that fair? Because if the whole point of the drink is endurance, to be fair, that happens in every like Western thing where someone comes in the saloon and they're like, I can outdrink anyone here. Someone's already outdrank 5 people, and you're like, well, geez, you guys need to meet tomorrow to settle this. Maybe the day after tomorrow, so you don't have to deal with the hangover.
At least let that person have like a cup of coffee, and maybe you have to pregame. But that's a whole nother thing. Let's get on tvtropes.org and write this out.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's on there.
So the one non-Miyagi thing that Moon does is just make out with her new girlfriend in front of Hawk. That's not like super cool, totally unintentional, but you totally see in Hawk's eyes. You feel bad for him for the first time in a few episodes because, you know, he's been kind of a dick, but he's also had like crease pour poison into his ears and everything. And he's there going like, oh, I'm Hawk. Cool. Yeah. Cool to meet you. Ha ha ha. And like goes away after he's tried to pick up Piper. So it's not the greatest place for him to be in when Eli starts talking trash. Although of course they have their bonding moment earlier. I mentioned Moffat, etc.
Yeah. Well, Dimitri, he's Eli.
All right.
But,
yes.
I do want to like Jacob Bertrand, the actor that plays Eli or Hawk. What he's really good at is he can, with like one look, he's Eli. Like he has that moment where he has like that like sad, like defeated look, and then he can turn it in a second to he's Hawk. And I think that's really great because he has those like that sad moment when he's just looking at them making out or whatever. And it is pretty for Moon being so based on everything. It's tough that she can't read the room and understand what's happening there. And then Dimitri comes, and I mean, I never watched Doctor Who, but you got to love this conversation and how he's like, I don't have time for nerd shit. But then he like can't help getting caught up into it. It's almost like they get their own, what would it be? What's Doctor Who traveling? What's his phone booth or whatever the fuck?
It's a TARDIS.
So it'd be what it would be, you know, talking TARDIS, Doctor Who, whackabout, something, you know, their own little podcast, right?
A Sonic Screw Up would be the name. Talking TARDIS, a Sonic Screw Up. Jim, this is you and me after one of us leaves the show and gets hella into karate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you hear Cobra Kai's coming back? They're going to Netflix now. What?
Going to Netflix?
Yeah, it's a real moment, and I think he just tries to sell it as like, you just need a healthy dose of inner peace. It worked for me, or whatever. And you know, like you said, there's a shift in gears, and Hawk comes out and pours drink all over him, and you know what? This is enough for Dimitri. He's gonna have a little speech, and he you know what? You gotta give it to Dimitri. Guy commands a room like few people on this show.
He really holds. And it's funny because it's like we cut away in the speech and cut back, so it's like he's up there for like 30 minutes just holding
a tight 30 just on Hawk,
just telling stories about Hawk, and then Hawk's just standing there doing like I guess nothing for a while.
Well, it's a bit weird as well because it's like one of the other guys is like, remember what Kreese said about Mercy, but like Mercy, I feel in this context would be taking him off the stage and not beating him to death, right?
Yes, that's Mercy. Like he could still take him off the stage. Yeah, even give him a couple slaps or something.
That's Mercy.
I don't know if Johnny would be like the new Johnny Cobra Kai would be like, let a guy talk shit about you to a party.
I don't know though. Maybe that's what they feel that he did when Daniel came to the dojo and he didn't fuck him up, because Daniel was talking hella shit and even stole students and whatnot, you know, and he didn't do shit. So maybe he's just trying to, you know, take a leaf out of Johnny's book here, and it doesn't work.
That's true. Fair enough. So then, what else do we have? We
got some sexy dancing, of course, at the restaurant, where not only do they get to have dinner together, also they get to dance right next to each other, like it's their own private venue.
Yes.
The only comment I have on this was when Johnny's like, like he gets into the dancing, he's doing all right, and he says to the waitress like, another round, make it a double. Jim, does this mean he ordered 2 Coors Banquets? Because I've never seen him drink anything else. And I went back and checked, and it's the only thing on the table. So even if he's had several, like they've taken it away, there's only Coors Banquets there. How can you have a double Coors Banquet? Is it a really big bottle, or is he fucking 40 hands over here with 2 banquets? How is he going to dance with 2 banquets?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Maybe he went with the 40 hands.
Sure.
But I mean, I guess you're having fun. Sometimes you're like, you know what? Yeah, order 2 beers right now because it's going to take, I know I'm going to drink this next one quick, and I don't even want to wait to have to order another one. So I think this is fine. He's ordering 2 banquets. But like we were saying, like I was saying before, I love all this. I love Johnny and Daniel being friendly and realizing that they are best friends. They just don't know it. That's the way I look at it now, is that these are the 2 best friends that have ever been friends in the whole world, because they've been linked for 30 something odd years and they like all the same stuff. So they're best friends.
Just like Aaron Burr and Hamilton. It worked out for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched Hamilton yet, but yeah.
Not yet. Not yet.
Right.
The way that, and then I like how it even plays out, because they also, I mean, I know I call this out all the time, but Johnny is the king of buzz driving. And I guess even Daniel is great at buzz driving, because they're clearly ordering, they've ordered at least 4 rounds they've ordered at least 3 rounds, because they're ordering the next 4th round, which is a double. Well, I guess 5 banquets isn't too bad. He could still drive, but the way they walk out, they're still pretty buzzed. But they're all ready to drive. They don't care. Karate centers you, as we've seen with Sam. And I mean, even their like quick back and forth of like, hey, you know, this probably wouldn't be a regular thing, but like, you know, they understand. There's an understanding, especially with some of the revelations about Kreese. And I think Daniel does at least believe Johnny. He believes Johnny that Kreese is gone, and that Kreese was the maniac, and Johnny didn't know some of the stuff that was happening. So it does leave things at what would set up maybe a much more stable balance between the 2. But of course, this is not the finale, so there's going to be more to come.
Indeed. So Sam, like you said, he's just unscrewing a bottle. Aisha comes up, and well, I think Robbie is like, "Hey, I'm going to find you something to eat." And then Aisha, with perfect timing, reveals that Miguel brought the medal to your house. Robbie took it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm in a great state to learn this news." So she's out sitting, staring at the pool or whatever. Again, being that person at the party. We've all been that person at the party, though, when you're way drunk and you're like, fuck all you guys. I'm going to sit here on my own, walk home. I'm surprised she didn't start walking home.
I've been the walk home for sure. I've been in another state, and I'm like, I'm walking home. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
My friends.
Exactly. She's come to the realization that she has no friends, because Robbie, the guy who's showing her all this attention, she's keeping him around with her wiles and all. Even he has just kept Miguel from her. In her drunken mind, Miguel is the only thing on her brain. He I guess he comes up to like check if she's okay or what have you. And so then that's how we get into the whole situation there that unfolds.
Yeah, they do. They kiss, and you know, in classic, I guess, again, it's kind of sitcom-y, like right in the background. Of course, you could see Tori sees that shit's going down, so she's upset. Cutting back real quick to the Dimitri toast. I love when he calls him a real zero, and then Nate's like, I love math humor.
Yeah, that's good.
A fun moment. And I mean, that does come to a head when he brings up the bedwetting, and you know, shit's about to go down, but the cops show up. So, you know, then we get the great, like, I guess maybe it's because I'm too old now, but do they still make teen party movies like they used to when I was young? Because this is like the classic scene in the teen party movie when the cops show up and all our characters have to disperse and run away. And of course, even Stingray himself is trying to get the door open with his 40 hands.
Yeah, I don't know, Jim. Like I was gonna ask you, is this really what it's like in the Americas? Like, do the cops always show up and then everyone has to go like, "Oh, scram, it's the fuzz"? Because I've only seen this in the films.
They don't always show up. This isn't always how parties end, but there's, especially in my experience in high school parties, quite a few parties did end this way, where the cops show up and we'd run off into the woods. I mean, I don't know if you have the same, like in California or the Valley or wherever they are. I guess you have the hills. I don't know if you're dispersing in the woods like we did, but there's been many a times where we're carrying a 12-pack of Coors Light and you're trudging through the through the woods and you could see the flashing cop lights in the distance up on the street.
Oh, fun. So Johnny leaves Carmen at home. There's a long pause. You're almost like, is he not going to strike? But then they kiss and go their separate ways. And he's at home opening another Coors banquet, a celebratory one, I assume. And there's a knock on the door. I think he's berating himself for not inviting her in. And then it's, of course, Robbie and Sam at the door, because Sam was way paranoid about coming home to her parents. Right? And that's pretty much where we end the episode.
Yes. Miguel's looking for Tori. He can't find her, but they got to go. The cops are there, and Robbie's trying to take Sam home, but she's like, no, my parents will kill me. And, he had this seed planted by his mother that maybe his dad's not so bad. So very great timing where he's like, you know what, I'm going to give my dad a chance. And they go to Johnny's house. And this does not bode well for the La Russos out there, because I feel like this is going to drive a wedge between Johnny and Daniel. I don't know about you.
You think so? Nah, I think they'll be hella cool about it. Johnny will just call Daniel and it'll be fine. We don't need to worry about it. But we'll find out next time on our show. We're going to talk about the season finale. We're finally going to get there. Until then, though, you can find all of our coverage of other television shows. We haven't done a coupling one yet or a Black Books one, but we do have a spaced one and no Doctor Who one. But look out for Talking TARDIS on the horizon. The Sonic Screw Up. I enjoy the title. It's almost good enough that we should make it, but probably not. Doctor Who's not very good. I'm sorry. So yeah, just find all at showswhatyouknow.com. Leave a review on your podcatcher of choice. Anything else, Jim?
I think there's just one more thing.
Oh, what's that?
Strike first.
Strike hard. No mercy.